Hey, what's up guys? So I'm doing a little maintenance on the hot tub right now, so I figured I'd let you guys in on it just in case it might help somebody if you decide to purchase one of these things. As you guys know, I mentioned in my last video, I think it's a great purchase. Right now I got an extremely decent sized hose. It's a stretchy hose with hot water running from the kitchen area all the way in there, all the way into here. I run this up to the min line, as you guys can see. It's almost there. After I do this, I'll show you the next steps that you typically have to take after filling up, after topping off one of these things with fresh water. Not fresh water, water from the tap. Just in case you guys were wondering, why am I using hot water? Well, you see this heater? This heater is not going to do anything for you. When you first get this item, you're going to want to set this thing up, throw the water in there. You're going to want to get this thing nice. It doesn't work like that. This heater is made to maintain heat. So basically, you can get it hot using this heater, but you need to heat for days. So I'm talking about, you need to put this in your living room, you need to fill this up with water, and you need to put the top on, latch the top, and then let it sit there for days. And then maybe in about 3 days, depending on the initial temperature of water that you put in, maybe then you'll have it around 100 degrees where you want it. So what you do is you fill it up with hot water. This water is hot. You can see the steam probably coming off it. I can see it on my end. So fill it up with hot water. That'll give you a really big jump on this thing getting to the temperature that you want it. Hey guys, so I just got finished topping off the hot tub with some tap water. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check the levels in the pool. So if you watch the first video that I set up regarding the hot tub, you'll notice I said you gotta kind of be like a chemist, right? Like a little scientist. Not really, but so the reason why I said that is because you're gonna need some chemicals, right? The reason why you need some chemicals, and you might hate chemicals like me, but I had to get over that. I had to, you gotta take what you can get. And if you want a hot tub, then you're going to have to deal with chemicals, unless you're going to want to dump all the water out, 210 gallons in this case, every single time you're finished using it, which is just not realistic. So in order to be able to keep this thing safe for you and your family to go into, you got to use chemicals. So what I'm using currently right now is this. It's called Aqua Check. I got it on Amazon. I'll leave a link to it. What they are tabs, and you're probably familiar with these things, but if not, these basically check for a few different things. They check for the pH, they check for the alkalinity, the bromine. In my case, I'm using bromine in order to sanitize this hot tub. The reason why I'm using bromine is because when you use chlorine, it stinks. Chlorine will stink up the entire place. And this is inside, so I care about that. So bromine has a almost odorless smell. All right, and you also are checking for bromine in this case. But if you bought these tabs specific to chlorine, then you would have a chlorine here instead. And then you also have total hardness, which is the water that we have in the tap, or if you have well water or whatever, it has a certain hardness to it. And if the water is too soft, then what's going to happen is it's going to start to eat away at your equipment, from what I understand. I'm just going to let you guys know I'm not an expert. I've done some research. Do your own research. If I misspeak, hey, it is what it is. So far, what I've been doing has been working. Again, I'm not an expert at this, but I am telling you what has worked for me through the research that I've done and through what I believe I remember to be correct. So again, if the water's too soft, it can actually cause corrosion. If it's too hard, right? If there's not enough calcium in the water, it can cause like buildup, calcium buildup. If there's too much in in the water, you'll start to see it caked up onto the sides and onto the equipment, and it can damage a lot of stuff. So either too soft or too hard, it's going to damage it. You also want the total amount of chlorine or bromine in there to be correct, because if not, you're going to end up getting sick, getting an eye infection, getting whatever infection. You want the alkalinity to be correct, and you also want the pH to be correct. Now, the pH and the alkalinity, they work hand in hand for the most part. For the most part. The way I look at it is they're basically the same thing, but they're not. But the way I look at it, since they work in, pretty much hand in hand, I look at it as that. So if you have a low pH, you're going to probably have a low alkalinity, and so, the same thing backwards. So this tab here is going to tell you what you are dealing with. So since I just topped this off with tap water, I'm going to see what we got. Alright, so I just tapped this off, and now what you're going to do is you're going to match up the colors to what you have on the back of this bottle, right? So I hope you could see that. Yeah, you can match it up on the back of this bottle. So you wait 15 seconds, make sure there's no excess water on it. Wait 15 seconds, and it's going to tell you where we're at. So I'm just going to stop holding it and let you guys know where we're at, because it's just easier for me. So we are with the pH. I don't have to mess with the alkalinity. The total bromine level, the reason why that's high is because I just crushed a bromine sanitizing tablet. I got this off Amazon too. It's from Spa Essentials. You can buy kits fully loaded with all this stuff. I just decided to buy them individually. So, from any brand, they'll make kits. You can buy every single thing you need in order to have your thing up and running. I just decided to buy individual brands of different things. So, Spa Essentials, sanitizer, brominating tab. So now when you first, I didn't do this. Before I jump to that, the reason why this is showing high bromine, however you say it, bromine, is because I just crushed the tablet and threw it into the water. The reason I did that is because it was low on the bromine. Okay? So now what's going to happen is, since it's a little high, I'm just going to let it sit overnight, and by tomorrow, from my previous experience, it's going to be at a normal range, which is perfect for me, right? So bromine, if you're dealing with bromine, I can talk about that. I haven't dealt with chlorine necessarily yet. So with bromine, when you first fill this up with tap water or well water, this is 210 gallons. What I did was I crushed one of these tablets. No, I crushed two of these tablets in a Ziploc bag. I crushed them up. I actually don't recommend that because the Ziploc bag breaks. But you hear people on the internet say that, do that. So that's where I got that from. What I found to be better was I just took, you could probably get liquid bromine too. I literally just took one of these tabs, one of these bromine holders right here, and I took a disc of bromine, and I just rubbed it on this inside the water, underneath the water, and it just corroded, right? Which is what I wanted. I wanted to go into the water. This is what they look like. It's just a little disc. That's what you're going to be dropping into your water. A little white disc. So I crushed that up, basically, and threw it in the water. The reason I did that is because, from what I read, you need to establish something called a bromide bank. So, from what I understand, that is, and again, I'm not an expert. You can Google this stuff and get the exact information behind this, but from what I remember, you need to establish a bromide bank. So in order to do that, you have to have bromine in the water, and eventually what's going to happen is it's going to build up and build up and build up. Once that bromine ends up becoming neutral because it's been used up, you have what's called, from what I understand, remember, I'm not an expert, you have a bromide bank. And basically that means that all you have to do, now that you've had bromine in this tub, it sanitizes it for you, you use the tub a few times, now one day you come along and you test it again with one of these strips, it's saying that you're a little low on the bromine. You're going to use something similar to this. This is called Renew. Well, this is, you know, there's a million brands, but Leisure Time Renew. It's called Shock Oxidizer. What that does, from what I understand, is you pour this into the tub, right? Pour the shock into the tub, and that renews the bromine in it. So it takes the bromide and turns it into bromine again. So when the bromide goes bad, you get bromine. No, when the bromine goes bad, you get bromide. Now you wake the bromide up and turn it back into bromine using this. That's what I understand. And whether that's right or not, this has been working. So every single time I use one of these strips, it ends up coming out perfect, and no equipment has been damaged. I haven't had any problems. Me and my wife haven't had any problems. So you just add some of that, right? So this wakes up and makes it so that you don't have to add more bromine, right? But every once in a while, when it's low, add another tab. You also have the little floaty in there. You put a little disc in the floaty so that it's constantly getting refed a little bit of bromine, so that you're not going into this thing and getting some kind of like infection. There's other brands out there of these tabs. This one's called Spa and Hot Tub Test Strips by Health Metric. It's basically the same thing, but let me tell you, these work very differently. These I wasn't very satisfied with, and the gentleman from this company was great to me. I wrote to him and said I was getting wacky readings on these tabs, so he gave me my money back. Keep in mind, these tabs are extremely sensitive. If you keep them in a humid area, if you keep them in a very hot area, a very cold area, they're going to go bad. You're going to get bad readings. So what happened with this brand, I'm guessing, is that these were stored before they were sent to me in a bad area. They ended up going bad, and now I had, you know, bad tabs. So I bought this, I got my money back for this, and, you know, it is what it is. So every brand's different. You also have to worry about whether or not it was good or not when you got it. A bunch of these spoons so you can measure stuff out. All these chemicals come in liquid or they come in powder form. From what I understand, whatever your pick is. I like the powder form better. This is calcium increaser, right? So this is going to make the water harder. If it's too soft, you're going to add, judging by the directions on the back, you're going to add some of this calcium increaser to your water, and that's going to make it hard. So what you do is you add the appropriate amount according to this chart in the back. You run the bubbles for a cycle, which is typically about 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Let it mix up, let it rest for a couple minutes, and now test it again with the strips. So in the beginning, when you get this thing, don't be fooled. You'll be going through a lot of these strips. So buy one that's got like 50 or 100 in it, or buy a couple packs. Because you're going to be going through a lot of these strips. But once you establish the correct dosage for everything, you won't have to worry about going through a lot of these strips anymore. So you got the calcium increaser. It makes it harder. You have the Renew, which wakes up the already established bromide bank that you have in the water. You have this. This is called pH decreaser. You don't want too high of a pH. Now let me tell you my experience. I had everything on the strip was perfect. The next day, I opened up the top of this thing and got ready to go in. My eyes started burning. I was like, what's going on? I thought maybe I added too much bromine. I checked the strip. It said my pH was too high. And I'm like, well, I thought that was kind of good. You know, you drink alkaline water. You want your pH to be high. No. I added this stuff. It brought the pH down to the appropriate level. My eyes stopped burning. So make sure you understand there's a lot of chemicals you will need with this product. There is maintenance involved with this hot tub, but it is well worth it, because once you establish it, once you figure out what you're doing and you get the hang of it, it's not a problem. It was daunting at first. It was annoying me, and I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? I got this big thing with all these hundreds of gallons of water, and I don't know if I want this anymore. Don't worry about it. pH decreaser brings the pH down. We already spoke about Renew, right? We spoke about Renew. It wakes up the bromine again, so you have more bromine. You basically don't have to add a little bromine for some time, you know, a little bit of time. This is called Enhanced Shock. So this is called Shock. this is called enhanced shock, right? The difference is this will do the same thing as this other one. It's going to wake it up, but this one, this enhanced shock, it uses chlorine. Has a small amount of chlorine in this. I've found that if I use this every couple weeks, maybe one time every, week and a half, something like that, it makes the water, if there's any smells in the water, which typically there isn't if you keep everything at the right levels, but sometimes you get kind of like a little musty odor once in a while, you add some of this, no more musty odor. Yes, because it has a little chlorine in it, you will smell a little bit of chlorine for a short period of time. But it goes away. You open the window, you throw a fan on, throw the AC on, leave the top on with just a crack open so it can breathe while you let it bubble. You throw this in, you turn the bubbles on. After every one of these products, throw the bubbles on. Let it circulate throughout the machine. So you throw this in, maybe throw the top on to keep the heat in the room down and the smell in the room down. Because when you got those bubbles going, this room gets hot. So throw the top on if you want. Let those bubbles run. Don't go in the tub. This is just what this tells you, right? If you do the research, it'll tell you don't go in the tub for at least like 10 hours after you add this. So I recommend adding this at night. Have I gone in the tub after I added this? Yes, I have. Am I alive? Yes, I am. My eyes didn't burn. I had no problems. So it clears the water up, makes it look nice and crystal clear. It takes any kind of a weird smell that might be there away. And I just think it's good practice to add this to the water about every week and a half. So basically what I've been doing is crush a bromide tablet, throw it in. After I test it, I'll test maybe twice a week. If I see the bromide's low, I'll add a little bit of Renew. That wakes it up. It's good for another, 5 days, something like that. After 5 days, I'll just throw this in. Whether it's good or not, I'll just throw a little bit in. It makes this water very nice. All right, and it makes me feel comfortable knowing that I got a little bit of extra in there. I don't know, enhanced. It says enhanced on it, so it must be better, right? That's what you hope anyway. So that's basically it. Oh, no, it's not. Hold on. Give me 1 second. So you have low alkalinity, right? Let's say you check this tab and you have low alkalinity. Now, we already discussed this pH decreaser, which is going to decrease your alkalinity and it's going to decrease your pH. It's going to do both, right? If you need to increase the alkalinity, this, baking soda. You will go online and you will see all over Amazon or in the stores or whatever, pH increaser, alkalinity increaser. You'll see all that stuff. But guess what? All that is, if you look at the ingredients, it's exactly what this is, 100% sodium bicarbonate. So you're spending money on a bottle. That's what you're doing. You're spending money, good, hard-earned money on a bottle when you could buy a box of this stuff for like $3 at the store and get the same exact result. So I'm glad I did the research to figure that out. So that's it. So you got this for the pH and the alkalinity to raise it. You have Renew to renew the bromine, so you don't have to keep adding more bromine. You have calcium increaser to make the water a little bit harder if it's too soft. You have pH decreaser in case the pH is too high. You don't want it too high or too low. You want it just right. And you have enhanced shock. Just throw in there. This will kill, from what I understand, any kind of germ that's in there. Toss a little bit of it in, according to the instructions. Toss it in, and it'll take care of any problems that the bromine, it's a little confusing. The bromine didn't take care of. And these are the bromine tablets. I have not had any bad smells from this thing, except for when I did not know what I was doing with the chemicals. Once I figured the chemicals out, no bad smells, no problems. I highly recommend using the bromide, because if you use the bromide, you're not going to have that chemical smell in your house all the time, because I have this in the house, and I don't want this thing like chlorine. Something else I'll tell you about this hot tub is I highly recommend, it's a little off the subject. Let me see if you can see what I'm talking about. I think you can. Highly recommend those. That's a pillow. You know what? Here, let me put this back. I'm not good at this whole video thing. I highly recommend this. This is an Intex. I think it's an Intex brand. If not, you know, either way, it's made in China. It holds cups. Put your cell phone on it, whatever you want to put on it. And also these little pillows from Intex. I like these. I also just ordered what is called a hammock. It's like a pool or a hot tub hammock. It lets you just float in the water, hanging out. It's kind of like a little bed on the water. I just ordered that from Amazon. I'm going to put links to all of these things in the video. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. Hopefully you can use this. I have had only great things to say so far. Does having a hot tub in your house get warm? Yes, that's why you have a good AC. You also, I'm going to do another video after this discussing how you want the air temperature to be and how you want to control the humidity, how you want to control that air temperature, because it will affect the inside of the house. This is a lot of water, and when you throw those bubbles on, especially, the heat just rises out of this thing, and the whole room is going to get humid and hot. So I'm going to talk about in another video how you can combat that and the success that I've had and any things that you should be aware of because it's important to know. So I don't think there's anything else. I'm also going to be doing another video at another time on the filter system in this Intex tub. So if you go online, you're going to see a ton of stuff about Intex and the dreaded, everybody says the dreaded E90 code that pops up on the machine. I don't know why it's so dreaded. So I'm going to do a video regarding that. Yeah, so we'll get into that further at another point. I hope everybody's doing good, and I hope that this covered any questions or concerns you might have regarding the chemicals. And if you need to see something specific or have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll do the best that I can to answer those questions. Remember, I'm not an expert. There are many experts out there. I'm just telling you what I know from my experience and from my research. So just keep that in mind. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you guys all make this investment because it has been the highlight of my day every day, next to seeing my wife. So take care, and talk to you guys soon.